Firstly, good morning to everybody. It's very good to see such good numbers coming to these events. I think it confirms what we all believe, that there is still a lot of belief in the renewable industry. As the introduction mentioned, I'm Ian Knowles. I'm part of the Prysmian group, and my particular focus from a cable point of view is related to subsea cables. Having said that, I've spent many years looking after land cable systems as well. So my experience is very long and quite wide. I think firstly I'd like to make a particular thanks to Mainstream, to Eddie, to Andy, to Joe and the rest of the team for this very kind invitation to come here today. And I think during my presentation I'd like to just probably focus on three areas. The first is just to talk a little bit about who Prysmian are. I'm sure there are plenty of people in the audience who are not familiar with this company name. I can assure you we're not new. We've been around since 1879 and we have a very strong standing in the cable industry. I think beyond that, I'd like to just talk a little bit on what we can bring to the Energy Bridge project and maybe to finish a little bit on what we can't bring. And I think that's the area where I see the opportunities arising for other contractors and ideally local contractors. So, Prysmian, who are we? A few details here, just give you, let's say, a snapshot of the company. Prysmian Group comprises two brands. Prysmian was the original brand. You may have known our company under our former name. We were formerly part of the Pirelli group of companies up until 2005. We spent 130 years as part of that group. We subsequently become independent. We've changed the name to Prysmian, and 2 years ago we made a major acquisition of the Dracker Cable Company, who are also one of the world's very large cable companies, and together we are now the single largest cable manufacturing company in the world. Just a few facts and figures for anybody who's interested. We operate around 50 countries. We have 97 factories worldwide. We employ 22,000 people. By cable terms, we are a very big employer. And we look to enhance our company and our capability as far as we can with local resources. I think it's important to say that when we deliver these projects, even though we're a very international company, we have to be as local as we can in delivering these types of projects, because it's very often the local people who bring the key local knowledge that we need to supplement the worldwide experience that we have to deliver them successfully. In 2011, we had sales of around 8 billion euros. Again, in cable terms, these are very big numbers. And we have a huge focus on R&D. This is how we maintain our position, as we say, as number one in the world. I'm sure there's one or two of our competitors out there who would perhaps disagree, but anyway, we'll discuss that later. Okay, in terms of products, I can say we bring pretty much the full range of cabling products to the industry, from the smallest cables to the largest, from low voltage to medium voltage to high voltage, from land to submarine, special applications, wind turbine cables, the whole range. I think it's important to say that we are a dedicated cable manufacturer. This is our business, this is our daily business, and we don't have to focus on any other elements of our company, as we maybe did in the past when we were part of the Pirelli group. There was always a tussle between tyres and cables within the company. Now we can be 100% focused on our own business. We're also a systems provider. I think that's important to say. We take a project from design through the manufacturing, through the installation, and the final testing commissioning. From an installation point of view, in particular, this is where I see the opportunities arising for local companies to really support us in that. My particular interest within the group is for subsea cables, so I apologise a little bit that maybe the presentation is focused a little more on that. But not to say that submarine cables are the be-all and end-all. You do need some cable sections on land at the end of these subsea sections to make things work. We have probably more facilities for subsea cables than any other manufacturer. And as I say, we're very much an international company. Primarily, the subsea cables are coming from our factories in Europe. We have our main factory in Italy, close to Naples. We also have a very large facility, which I'll come on to in a minute, in Finland. But we're also using other factories to produce other types of submarine cable. In particular, the array cables are produced in the Norwegian factory and some of the other factories. It's a shame that I understand there are no manufacturing facilities in Ireland itself. Hopefully that will change one day. Okay, for people who are not so familiar with cable production facilities, this just gives you an idea of the scale of these facilities. In the top left-hand corner, not sure how clear that is, but this is a picture of our Italian factory. It's based in a small town called Arco Felice, just north of Naples. So if anybody ever gets a visit there, I think it's always an interesting visit. I know that mainstream of visitors on at least one or two occasions, and I think it's a very useful trip to give an idea of what goes into making these very large cables. In fact, we have our stand out there, so anybody who wants to come and see close up what we do, then you're welcome to come and see us. In the bottom right-hand picture, you can see the Finnish factory at Piccola, which is just north of Helsinki. Again, it's a very significant production facility, and we are supplying cables from both of these factories to primarily the German market and the UK market. Another absolutely key part of any cable project is the installation. And when we come to these very huge projects, such as the Energy Bridge, where I was just trying to work out how much cabling could be involved, because if we think in terms of the full 5 gigawatts of power, then to deliver that through a cable system, assuming some of the parameters that I've seen, the plus minus 320 kV DC system voltage, the current state of technology, then this could mean anything up to 4 to 5 cable systems. The installation, I think, is an absolutely critical part, and in fact, if there's any insurers here, they will understand how much importance, from an insurance point of view, is put onto the installation part. We're in a very fortunate position because we can bring 2 of the foremost vessels in the industry. These are very sophisticated vessels dedicated to cable laying, and we're in the fortunate position that with the Julia Verne vessel, Jules Verne, in the top left-hand corner, which we've had as part of our group for many years, and we recently supplemented that with the Enterprise vessel, which came as part of the acquisition of Global Marine. I need to move on swiftly. Cable products. You can come and see us on the stand. There are examples, all of these. These are mainly on the high and medium voltage. So I think it's true to say we can provide all types of cable for these types of systems. I thought it was just useful to touch a little bit on some of the key projects. Germany and UK are the main markets at the moment. Germany, I have to say, probably is taking a bit of a lead, because I see in the UK market the complications that come from not only the financial crisis, but to the political environment, the environmental permitting and consenting difficulties. There's absolutely been a slowdown in the real activity in the UK market, and I see this as building the pressure in order to deliver what they need by 2020, and that's where I think Energy Bridge has a real opportunity to fill some of the gaps that are being created, in my view, by the complicated political and financial landscape that we see. These are just a few of the German projects. Moving on quickly to the Western Link projects, I had this one close to my heart. This is one project that I signed last year, and it is the probably the foremost project anywhere in the world in terms of subsea cable installation and land installation. It's the highest voltage, it's the highest power, it's the highest contract value of any single cable project ever. So we're very proud to have this project as part of our portfolio. I think importantly, I wanted just to highlight where I see some of the opportunities for local companies. These are the parts that we cannot do, and we rely upon local companies to support us with some of these aspects. Civil works contractors, we had in fact one that visited us on the stand just a few minutes ago, and this is one of the key areas that we need support. Specialised drilling contractors, HDD, will form part of any project. We see specialised consultants, we've heard from Mott MacDonald, environmental consultants and the like. We need those people and we need the local people. Port services, we're using vessels. Ideally we want to use the local ports if they're suitable. Guard boats, again, we try to use local people, local fishermen, whoever it is who can do the job, we will try to use them. Local plant, accommodation, all of these supplementary services which you almost don't think about, but when you start to do these big projects, you understand how many different services really are needed to deliver them. I think that's pretty much it. I heard the second bell, so I'd like to thank you for your attention.